everyone. Welcome to Kudlow. I'm Larry Kudlow. Okay, hot on the heels of the infrastructure package, Democrats successfully rushed to pass the budget resolution framework, working through their vote-a-rama with all sorts of Republican amendments and other complaints that, unfortunately, won't amount to a hill of beans. The final vote on the final package was 50-49 in favor of the Dems. Senator Mike Rounds was out on family business, but even if he were there, Kamala Harris was standing by to break the tie. In a whole list of depressing factoids accompanying this lunatic package, as our friend Charlie Hurt put it last night, it's speed and efficiency with which the Democrats are carrying their agenda forward. This is not a good story, and I'm concerned it will be apocryphal when the final reconciliation package occurs later this year. Of course, they were helped by Republicans on infrastructure, but they didn't need any help on this humongous spend and tax and regulate and green and entitle and amnesty, their so-called transformational Democratic plan. It's going to be scored at over $5 trillion when it's all said and done, plus $1 trillion for infrastructure, comes to $6 trillion. The public is increasingly against this. Polls show people associate overspending with rising inflation, and inflation is now a greater problem than unemployment, and voters correctly perceive that $3 trillion or so in higher taxes will fall on the middle class, as tax hikes predominantly always do. Why is this? Because that's where the money is. And by the way, our ace Washington analyst Dan Clifton puts it, higher taxes equals lower earnings. More taxes on businesses will shrink profits, which means less money to pay the workforce, less money to invest in new technologies for productivity, and less money for real wages, less money for lower share prices for your 401ks and IRAs, and of course higher consumer prices to finance the tax hikes. Mr. Clifton will be with us shortly on the show. Once again, I want to say this, corporations do not pay taxes. People do. Now, who is Mr. Biden kidding? Take a listen to his press conference.
The investments I'm proposing will be fully paid for. Over the long term, that means we'll actually reduce the national debt, improve our fiscal position over the long run. My Build Back Better agenda is fiscally responsible.
Yes, well, Mr. Biden, I appreciate that. However, the Bernie Sanders Budget Committee documents show a $17 trillion increase in publicly held federal debt over the next 10 years as a result of these policies. And by the way, Mr. President, the Trump corporate tax cuts actually paid for themselves within 18 months. And his overall tax package of $1.5 trillion in tax relief was all but paid for on the eve of the pandemic. That, according to the Congressional Budget Office. And here's another bulletin. The Biden tax hikes are 7 times the size of the Trump tax cuts. And here's yet another bulletin. No country in the history of history has ever taxed its way into prosperity. And just to close the circle, this is a program of central planning, government control, a leftist social vision. By the way, amnesty is actually in this bill, along with an attempt to significantly downgrade America's free enterprise system, which has made us the strongest economy in the world for about the past 200+ years. By the by, this is the 40th, no, tomorrow is the 40th anniversary of Ronald Reagan's tax cuts. The first round was signed in August of 1981. Yours truly was there as a young cub in the Office of Management and Budget. Those Reagan tax cuts led to a 3-decade-long prosperity wave. We're going to have a special show on it tomorrow evening from Washington, D.C. However, let's get...
We help cover